If you're enjoying Pigoted Podcast, why not sign up to our Patreon? You can get access to loads of extra stuff. You get access to extra episodes every single week. You get access to giveaways that we do. We've done giveaways on rum, giveaways on NFTs, loads of sponsorship stuff. You get access to the Discord community. You get early access on episodes that are being released. You get to ask questions to our guests. There's loads of extra stuff that you get, and it starts from just £1 a week, £4 a month. Think about it this way. Would you miss an episode of Pigoted if we didn't release one? Yeah? Well, would you miss £1 if it went out of your bank account? No? Well then, get yourself signed up to our Patreon, because by supporting the podcast, you're helping to make it possible. You're helping to pay for all of the recording space and all of the equipment. So please, if you do enjoy the podcast, check out the Patreon. You get loads of extra benefits, and a big thank you from me. Enjoy the podcast. This week's podcast is brought to you by Window World. Window World are the home of rock bottom prices on all of your UPVC windows, doors and conservatories. Right now they're doing a very special deal where you can get 8 windows and 2 doors for only £2,495. So if you're thinking about getting new windows or doors, if you want to upgrade yourself for 2022, then get yourself down to windowworldupvc.co.uk or give them a call on 0151 531 0056. That's Window World, the home of great quality windows and doors. Welcome to Pigoted Podcast. Joining us as always is co-host, the brains behind Pigoted, the academic, the thing that gives Pigoted its credibility, Dr. Kat Ford.
Hello.
I feel like I built you up too much then.
I feel like you've built the podcast up too much.
Yeah. Yeah. There's people who were listening to last week's Phineas Gage episode going, really? Really?
It went well off the rails.
Who do you think you're fooling, guys? Come on now. I am very excited because we went to the shops before doing this, and Kat has brought me Iron Brew Extra, which I can only describe as Iron Brew in a can the size of a Foster's.
Yeah.
Just for Scottish people that want a pint of Iron Brew on the go.
It's a good way to start the day.
Oh, God, hang about. Oh, it is beautiful, though. Yeah. It is Iron Brew is fucking well nice.
Yeah. Does it... So it says it's extra taste, no sugar. Can you tell the difference between that and a standard Iron Brew?
I would say that there is the same amount of taste that there has always been. As for the sugar, I can't taste the difference.
Yeah. No. That's grand. That's what you want in your pint of Iron Brew.
But what do they put instead of sugar? Because I'm sure that they're like, oh, no sugar, but we have sugarium benzoate or whatever, which is definitely not sugar. And then you look in 10 years and you realise that it causes your balls to shrivel and drop off. It's something. Like, it's always worse, isn't it? Don't look at me like that. It's always worse. For example...
I am sure the good people at Iron Brew wouldn't release a drink that would cause your balls to fall off.
No, Mr. and Mrs.
Brew.
Brew.
Brew. That's the point. It's not even iron, is it? It's
Iron Brew. But, I always think this with vaping, right? So vaping's like, hey, it's not smoking. And it's like, but it still looks bad.
Yeah, it's not great. I say that as somebody who vapes.
But I honestly reckon in 15 years they're going to go, it's worse, soz. Or, it's just as bad.
I doubt it's going to be found to be worse.
But
I don't think anyone's operating under the illusion that it's not bad for you.
Really? I think millions of people are.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I think it's still nicotine and you're still inhaling something other than air into your lungs.
Yeah, but I think that I'd say 90% of people are vaping on the preconception that it's good. Well, not good for you. It's not bad for you.
It's definitely, I from what research has been done so far, I think people are pretty confident that it's less harmful than smoking.
I heard that you get something called popcorn lung.
That's only with specific flavours.
Sounds delicious.
It's weirdly, it's only specific flavours that cause popcorn lung, and one of them is anything that's kind of buttery.
Fuck off.
Well, because the reason why it's called popcorn lung is because it's a condition that was first reported in people that work in popcorn factories, and it's the vapors when you're adding that artificial butter flavour.
What a delicious way to die.
Puffing that in. Yeah. I think, obviously this is, like, this could be evidence that it's completely bollocks, but I think there's like an episode of House where there's somebody, one of his patients.
Oh, here we go. Is it like you've come in with a cough and then Hugh Laurie limps up and go, it's popcorn lung because he lived next door to a fucking Butterkist.
Kind of that. But actually, it's one of my favourite episodes because it's an episode that focuses on Wilson. And so...
I don't know who that is.
Wilson is House's best mate.
Oh. Little ball.
Yeah. He's House's best mate. Because it's House and Wilson instead of Holmes and Watson. They've deliberately done that.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so shit.
I think it's quite cool, especially because House and Holmes, or like House and Home are synonyms, kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
fine.
it's just you're basically building character by making him sound like a different character. That's rubbish. Like if you think about it, imagine if they did a new character, new action film, and they called him Schmoosh Billis. And they were like, it's sort of like Bruce Willis, but his name's Schmoosh Billis.
Bruce Willis is the name of the actor, not his character.
All right.
2.
John McClane, Tom McGrain.
Sounds like a farmer. Yeah. Oh, trouble with combine harvester.
He is a farmer, but one day his farm gets taken over by German terrorists.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Trying to plant
Nakatomi.
GM crops.
Nakatomi farm.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll not be getting migraines, for my name ain't Tom McGrain.
It's Tom McGrain, not Tom your grain. That'll be his catchphrase.
And then he spends 90 minutes climbing around in a silo.
So anyway,
What we talking about?
So you must have been a pain in the arse to watch fucking Lion King with.
Well, at that time I was like a child, so I didn't quite have the.
It's just Hamlet.
I didn't have the awareness of that. Do you know what I found out recently about the Lion King, which I thought was really funny? Is so Scar's name wasn't always Scar.
Oh yeah.
Scar's original name was something else, but it's Swahili for garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fun thing about The Lion King, Scar should have actually been the king.
Really?
Because lions with darker manes, it tends to be indicative of higher levels of testosterone. So they would be more likely to actually be the leaders of the pack.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
So yeah, Disney is it's not a good place for your wildlife information.
Really?
Disney cartoons. Yeah.
Well, I've learned something now. I'm very. Do you know what as well?
You get so much more excited about the shitty little bits of information rather than like, hey, right, so here's this really interesting concept. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, well, interesting. It's
Yeah,
like,
but I think you've got to.
The Lion King is not factually accurate. Fuck me, really.
You mean to say that meerkats can't talk? Well, that's a wasted
And they're
afternoon
not
at the zoo.
native to Russia.
Are they not?
You just do that to mess with me, or no. They're African. They're like so there's like a big Kalahari meerkat project in
Kalahari.
In the Kalahari, yeah, because that's where they live, and people wanted to
Really?
study them. And sometimes when you do science, you go to the thing you want to look at instead of bringing the thing to you.
Oh,
yeah.
How about that? So what are we talking about today? Please tell me it's meerkats.
No. I'm a bit torn.
You're a bit torn.
I've got 2 potential options for you.
Okay.
So there's one topic that we can talk about that is interesting. There's probably the probably be some good opportunities for jokes and bit of pants.
And then let me guess, there's another one that isn't interesting, but there's loads of opportunities for jokes.
Other way around.
Oh, it isn't interesting.
It is interesting,
but there's no opportunities for jokes.
Fewer.
Oh, okay.
It's a much more serious topic.
Brilliant. Second one.
And it's a lot more topical.
Second one.
Okay,
I'm going to do it. Do you know, I want to challenge myself.
Okay.
I want to challenge myself. If we can make a joke out of Phineas Gage, we can make a joke out of anything.
Oh, I think we'll manage to make jokes out about this, but I don't think it'll be as light-hearted.
Oh, excellent. Well, it's all right. I wallow in filth most of the time, so let's crack on.
I can see you got shit on your jumper.
I have got poo on my jumper. Yeah. Well, what this is it's paint.
I was about to... I assumed it was chocolate.
No, it's paint. So this is my... I have things to do today, but I don't want to wear a nice T-shirt jumper. Yeah. So I painted in this and got paint in it, and it's never come out, despite the fact I've washed it about 1,000 times. It's just never... I say that as I'm scratching it now. It's coming out. I got my hair cut before I picked you up, and I don't like the idea of getting my hair cut and wasting a good item of clothing on getting your hair cut.
That's fair.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, because it's going to get all hairy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with this, I don't care because this is like my shit thing. I didn't have time to come back and get changed. I thought, hey, it's only a podcast with Kat. She's not going to mind. It's not like she's going to bring it up or anything. She's pretty liberal like that. She doesn't really care what people were. You know, she's very much let people be people. How wrong I was.
Look, I'm liberal, not filthy.
Do you know what? Little segue, little segue. That's how segues pronounce if you look at it. Little segue. I have just been booked to do the roast of Count Dankula.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
So you remember Count Dankula?
I am aware. I don't know much of his material. All I know is the little Nazi pug dog.
Same.
That's it.
That's all I know.
All I know of his work.
But there's him and all of that sort of right-wing clique, and I've been booked along with a few other comics to do a roast, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
Have fun with that.
Let's take some ammunition.
Enjoy the trolling. Enjoy the trolling that'll inevitably come
Literally
afterwards.
do not care at all.
Okay, but I do, so please let me know before you do it, and I can lock my Twitter account.
Oh, okay. No, they won't come after you. They won't.
Hopefully. Well, yeah, hopefully not. Because I am not interested. Well...
No. Yeah. They won't come after. They won't even see this, to be honest with you.
That's true. Not many people do.
If you see this, comment spaghetti underneath. Comment right-wing spaghetti.
Comment Nazi meatballs.
Comment GB Fusily.
Right.
Is it GB News? Yeah. Right. Okay.
Right.
What are we doing today?
Right. So,
go on.
I ended the extra recording with a pained look to camera and a squeaky appeal saying, we are trying to be better. I've literally planned ahead, as well as bringing drinks. I brought several protein bars that we can eat. Because I think part of what happened last week is we were both quite hungry.
Yeah.
And we just went completely off the rails.
Yeah.
So I thought if I brought these...
So there's three Chocky bars here.
Three Chocky bars.
And the
chocolate protein bars.
Yeah, and the brand is Grenade Carb Killer.
Yeah.
Which sounds horrific. And the three that we have, Caramel Chaos, White Chocolate Cookie, and Fudge Brownie. And I fancy a bit of chaos.
Go on, have a bit of chaos then.
Can I? Well, I'll save it for just when things are going off the rail.
Well, the reason why I brought it up is because I feel like we've already gone way off the rail. Not in quite the same way. This is just distracted preamble.
Let's get down to what we're doing today. Okay. So the second one, we're going to go with the serious one.
So yeah, the slightly more serious one that is quite topical is the topic of abortion and abortion access.
Oh, okay.
Because so there's currently a whole hoo-ha going on in America. You may or may not have noticed.
If you kept your hoo-ha closed, we wouldn't have this conversation.
That was fast. That was quick.
Yes! 4 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I have heard from several sources you are quite fast.
Efficient.
Efficient.
Yeah, I've got high productivity. Yes, Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know an awful lot about it on the account that I'm not a woman and I'm not in America, and so I don't really care that much. However, my feelings on the matter is that a woman's body is her own fucking business, and I genuinely think that until it comes out of you, you do what you fucking want with it. Like, I think you should be allowed to terminate up to half an hour before.
Right.
Yeah. It's not come out yet, so the minute it tags a doctor,
like in WWF.
yeah.
Yeah.
The minute it tags a doctor, it's out the ring.
It's not. Well, it is quite literally out the ring. It's not WWF anymore, is it? Because of the bloody animals.
No, I think it's WWE.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Right. Fuck, mate.
Do you want to just eat it now? That's what you were saying. No, it's fine. Right, so talk to me about Roe versus Wade.
Right, so now going into, like, I don't know a huge amount.
Okay, so
either.
talk to me about
like, I've
abortions.
just been trying to, like, I've been looking at a lot of stuff because obviously, it's very apparent, and as someone who spends a fair bit of time on Twitter, you can't move for commentary on it.
Yeah.
So Roe versus Wade came into law, basically. So it's named Roe versus Wade because it's based on a trial
Okay.
of somebody basically going all the way up to, like, the big court in America going, I should be allowed to have an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
There was somebody who was in Texas, which was, like, it's quite restrictive on abortion at the time.
Yeah.
What Roe versus Wade does is it makes abortion access a federal issue. So it means that instead of it just being every single state can decide whatever they want, it's a federally protected thing.
Right.
So no matter what state in America, there has to be at least some access to abortion.
Oh.
So
So it's good.
yeah, the initial Roe versus Wade
Oh,
is
I see.
helpful.
I see. So if you're somewhere like Texas, though, that's like, we don't want no aborted babies. That's how they talk.
Yeah.
Have you ever been?
No.
It's a perfect impression.
Okay.
No,
I'll-
perfect.
I'll believe you.
They have to provide something, but what they do, I imagine, is that they put it on the top of a mountain, and then like it's a 5-mile trek, and then just as you're walking down the trek, there's like loads of pictures of babies that you have to pass or whatever, and like there's a mother care that you have to go through. You're like a Primark.
Yeah.
You got to go through to get to the other shops. Like I imagine that what they would do is they would try and make it as inconvenient for a woman as possible to get one because they don't really want you to get one.
I can't remember whether it's based on the Roe versus Wade ruling or whether it's a subsequent ruling, but you can't put. I can't remember the proper technical term. It's something along like undue hassle, but not hassle.
Quite literally, nobody puts baby in the corner.
Nobody takes baby out in the corner.
Nobody takes baby out. Oh God, that's really funny. You're regretting saying it, aren't you? You're going, if only. Why did I give him an option? That's what you're saying at the moment.
So part of my problem in general is that it's like I'm two people. Like I'm quite a reasonably moral, caring person who doesn't want to upset anyone.
Yeah.
And a fucking knobhead.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of the time on this podcast with those two sides of myself fucking beating the shit out of each other in my head while I'm trying to have a conversation.
I can literally see the angel and the devil on your shoulders.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, undue burden. It shouldn't. There shouldn't be undue burden on the person seeking
Cool. So you can't put it like at the top of a mountain, surrounded by fucking spikes and guard dogs and shit, but you can put it 58 miles from like the hospital or whatever. So they'll try and push it as much as they can, but you know it can't be taking the piss.
Basically,
no.
What would happen if Roe v. Wade got repealed?
Yeah,
is every single state would be allowed to make their own rules, and in certain states that would come into effect immediately because of the way the laws are written.
But so, I'm guessing, right, that let's say we live in Alabama, right, and we all of a sudden you can't have an abortion, right, and I'm like a young woman who's pregnant who doesn't want the kid, right. I would imagine that I'm not going to go, oh, well, guess I'm just going to have it now. Bloody Roe versus Wade. I imagine that one of two things is going to happen. Number one, I'm just going to travel and make a needless journey to one of the states that does allow abortion and get it done. That's the sound for abortion.
Yeah, because they use slingshots.
Yeah.
Actually, are you sure some fallopian tubes is like the perfect fucking shape, isn't it?
Jesus wept. That's the devil bit in you overpowering. So I imagine what they do is they either drive to a state where it's illegal or do it at home. Like try and come up with some sort of, like I bet there's some sort of like how to get rid of your baby with whatever's in your kitchen.com.
Wiki how.
Yeah. Reddit. Do you know what I mean though? Like, so it's not gonna stop people from having abortions.
No.
It's just gonna make it harder and more unsafe.
Yeah, basically. So, harder, more unsafe, more expensive. So
what's the point of this? Oh dear fucking God.
Just to like really make the life of a lot of people much harder. Like it's a ridiculous thing. Like
Louis C.K. has a really good bit on this where he talks about how passionate anti-abortion people are. And he's like, yeah, because in their mind, you're killing babies. Like,
so that, yeah,
like in their mind, it's like, I'm not saying that they're right, but in
no,
their heads.
they're not right. And that's kind of what...
Yeah, but in their heads.
In their heads, they're right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of something that you've got... Like, that makes the whole thing much more difficult to deal with. Like, I know people who get really, really angry and upset with people who are passionate anti-vaxxers, understandably. But the thing is, anti-vaxxers who genuinely believe, absolutely believe that getting vaccinated causes all sorts of potential harms, then surely they have an ethical obligation to spread that news, right?
So we had someone with who's anti-vaxxer on this podcast. He's anti-COVID.
Anti-COVID. Yeah, because the rest of us are real pro-COVID.
Yeah, he's anti-COVID.
Come on, bring
vaccine.
the house prices down.
I mean, it worked wonders for me. I got... Anyway, he's anti-COVID vaccine, and he's a cage fighter. He's a professional MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Now, for him personally, look, for me and for the other guests that I had on, if COVID had a little, I don't know, it went from your fucking endurance rate went from 100% to 93%. Me and this other guy wouldn't even fucking notice that. But for him, that could be the difference between a world title and not having a contract. You know, when you make your living off your body in the way that these elite athletes do, I can really understand why they will be incredibly sensitive and picky about anything that goes in. Not saying that I believe it. I'm not saying that I believe it. But I can understand how, when you've got that much to lose, you are really, really cautious and careful. And you certainly don't want to be one of the first ones queuing up to get it. I can get that.
Yeah. And so It's one of the reasons why I think the Dunning-Kruger effect, or maybe not the Dunning-Kruger effect, but that kind of thinking about thinking is important.
Yeah.
Because like nobody adopts a position that they think is immoral and factually inaccurate.
Yeah.
Like somebody might be saying something like that to you sounds absolutely ridiculous, but they fully believe that.
Yeah.
And calling somebody an idiot or shouting in their face isn't going to make them change their mind. And it's more likely to make them become more entrenched. You've got to figure out what they believe.
Yeah.
Figure out why they believe it, and like come at it as like from a compassionate angle.
Yeah.
Like,
can I tell you, you see a lot of this in comedy, particularly when people get offended by stuff. So you tend to find that people laugh at all of the stuff until it's something that's about them.
Yeah.
And when it's the thing that's about them, it can be the tiniest, smallest thing that just sets them off. I saw a thing on the internet literally 2 weeks ago, and it was somebody who put a big 1-star ranty review on a Scottish comedy club's Facebook page that went semi-viral because big 1-star review said the headline act was hilarious, but then he made a joke about addicts and people who are addicted. This isn't funny. These people need our help. These people, they don't deserve to have jokes made out of them. They don't deserve to be called smackheads, blah, blah, blah. This is not comedy. This person needs to be stopped and never booked again, la, la, la. Anyway, when you look at the conversation between the club and this woman, turns out that that's what she does for a living. She works with recovering addicts. So that was her bit. She found the guy hilarious, but the minute that he started making a joke about smackheads or saying the word smackhead, she was like, well, because she's bringing all of her lived experience to it. And, you know, everyone's opinions are formed and cut by their own experiences. So, you know, I think it's worth being mindful of that, innit?
Yeah.
But having said that, I can't really see myself what experience you'd have in order to go, do you know what? Getting rid of abortions is a top idea.
So,
like, I can't see where you come from.
If you believe that
Jesus,
life
maybe?
starts at conception.
But does anyone believe that?
I'm
Really?
I'm sure some people must.
Well, do they not celebrate birthdays 9 months earlier then?
Because that's the miraculous event, right?
Yeah.
Like, once it's formed, it coming out in some way is inevitable.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's just moved from there to there.
Yeah, I think so. I'd imagine part of like the inherited cultural logic of celebrating the healthy birth is that
a lot of them used to
being
die.
pregnant is like a lot of people used to die in childbirth.
Yeah, in the Middle
A
Age.
lot of children died at birth.
In the Middle
yeah,
Ages, infant mortality was like 25%. It's
Yeah.
like 1 in 4 was like, nah, that one's a dud, soz.
Yeah.
So I imagine that you'd be like, hooray, yay, yay, it's alive, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas, like now it's almost, touch wood, it's almost a given, isn't it? Like because of the advances in medicine and practice or whatever. But yeah, I just don't see the other side in this.
Yes, successful births are a lot more common now.
Yeah.
But obviously a lot of people still do suffer miscarriages and such.
Totally.
Like,
but it's not 1 in 4. Is it?
suffering miscarriages. Oh, they are super common.
Whoa.
They just don't get spoken about.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's you don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Like, in the same way that people don't really talk about abortions, like, because abortion rates are. So there was one bit of research that I was looking at that was suggesting that abortion rates are somewhere between 1 in 4 and 1 in 3 women.
Whoa.
Yeah, like
That's pretty.
Really, really high.
That's pretty high. That.
Yeah.
It's pretty high.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Your mum, your grandma, and your grandma on the other side. Jesus. And your auntie.
Possibly. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, maybe not exactly like that.
No, I know,
but statistically,
in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the only way men can care about women is if they pretend they're related to them.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
You saw how hard it was for me to care about 4 women then. Okay, now that was a struggle.
4 women.
Yeah. I had to literally make 3 up as well. Both grandmothers are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, they are.
Fucking hell.
I've got a really large family. I don't see a lot of them, so
Yeah.
I've got like my
You've got no object permanence for your family members.
No, genuinely.
As soon as
So
they're out of sight,
my
might be dead.
My dad is one of 9, I think. And of those 9,
Yeah, but presumably he only has one mum.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
actually only have 2 grandmothers to try and keep track of.
well, this is it. So my dad's one of 9. I think of that 9, I would recognise 1, 2. I'd recognise 2 of them. Maybe 3, but I can't think of who the third one is. I certainly couldn't name all of them.
Yeah.
No way in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes I look and I'm like, oh, I appear to be related to you. I just don't have that, like, you know how some people are like really tight with their family and they're like, oh my God, I'm just going on a night out with my cousins. You know, you get those people.
Yeah.
No,
Couldn't give a shit.
No, I've got some cousins that I like, but I've got other ones that I've never met before. So I'm like, you know.
It's just different with a really big family, isn't it?
It is. You're just like, admin, innit?
Like, look, I can only care about 7 people at a time.
Exactly.
There's 9 of you fuckers, and I've got friends.
And also, well,
yeah.
and also as well,
Hypothetically.
I do have a thing where, and I've noticed this in me as a trend, I care way more about things that are more immediate to me. Like, you know what I mean? One of my best mates has just moved back from Vietnam, and he lived there for 8 years. And I've literally just started talking to him on WhatsApp again 3 days ago. He's like, oh, you've moved back? He's like, yep. I was like, oh, we should probably have a pint sometime. He's like, yeah. It's the end of that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. He was asked. Over there.
So anyway, so abortions are super common. Miscarriages are really common as well.
The thing is, though, as well, is I imagine, I'm, again, not an expert on this, but I imagine that abortions, when was Roe versus Wade?
1973?
So I imagine abortions in 1973 were a pretty fucking risky, dodgy, yeesh affair. Do you know what I mean? Not to say that they're not now, but I imagine that they've streamlined them. We've had 50 years of technology and medicine and shit. And okay, so this is what I'm trying to say in a more roundabout way. Abortions now are safer than they've ever been.
Probably, because that's the nature of science and medicine.
Totally. So why are we trying to restrict them more?
I honestly don't know. I don't understand what the motivation is, because, like you say, like, you can't stop them from happening. You can just make them more difficult, more costly, and like more dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, it's a ridiculous move, and it's a move that's going to disproportionately affect lower income people and people of color, because people of color are disproportionately represented in lower income brackets as well. So it's not even going to restrict access to abortion for everyone. It's just going to restrict access to abortion for poor people, like more than anyone else. Right?
Okay, let's go down the rabbit hole of conspiracies. All right.
Okay.
So why would they want more poor people?
I suppose, like, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I don't think it's something that anyone's like really sat down and properly thought out.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why it'll disproportionately affect poorer people is because money helps you get out of situations.
No, sure,
right?
but why would whoever's in charge want more poor people? Is
Well,
it more
it wouldn't-
labour?
Well, Probably not, but what it would affect is social mobility.
Okay, so people
like,
moving up and down social strata.
It'll certainly stop people, or it would make it more difficult to move up,
Oh,
especially in America where you've got to pay for having your kid.
Yeah.
And parental leave is really low. There's very little support for care, for early care of children, like crashes. And that's what I couldn't, like, them repositories where you
Repository, a
leave your
child
kid for a bit.
repository.
Yeah, just like a filing cabinet, like a lost baggage
Filing cabinet
at Euston. Like,
let's see, I'm putting it under B for baby. Yeah, throw it in there. T, toddler. T. See, twins? No. Toddler. Yeah, man. But do they not have the same, like, they don't have the same concept of class in America as they do over here, do they?
I honestly don't know, because I don't know a huge amount about the class system over in America, but I think they still are very familiar with the concept of having no fucking money.
Yeah. Do you know what? A friend of mine tweeted something about this that was really funny. He said, the way things are going in America, if you want an abortion, you have to give birth, raise the child, let it grow up, and then let it go to high school.
Yeah. That's
Which is...
That's savage, and I like it.
He's pretty on the money.
Yeah. It's like, what? How is it that it's easier to get hold of an assault rifle than an abortion? Like,
That's
what
mental.
world is that?
Well, I mean, one problem might solve the other.
Well, yeah. But
It's horrific. It's horrific
is.
because like it just seems to me that they're doing it. I mean, I always find with stuff like this, and I might be right and I might be wrong. You're probably going to tell me the second one of these rather than the first. But I always find that I feel like it's a distraction for something else. So I feel like every time they do something like this, it's so they can slip something seedy and nefarious past you with that, because we're all going, what? Abortions? What? Oh, this is awful. And then they slip something past you that, you know, gets rid of your right to protest or something like that. And you go, oh, and they go, well, we won't do abortions. You go, you bloody better not. And they're like, okay, we won't. But they've already got the thing past you that they want to get past you.
yeah.
Feels like distraction, because I can't see any reason why a reasoned, general, smart, fair society would want to restrict something like this. It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, you're assuming that people live in a reasoned, smart, fair society, which they fucking don't.
Even when
like,
we talk about, you know, like guns.
Yeah.
I'd say guns, drugs, right? You know, drugs. Like, when they have the, you know, the drugs.
You know, drugs.
Drugs what you take to make life happier.
Yeah.
But you know when you, like, there's a debate about whether or not drugs should be legal, right? And you have people who are like, yeah, man, legalize all the things. Like, hey, what's that? Fucking heroin, yeah, give it out for free, motherfuckers, woo. And then you have people who are like, maybe weed, yeah, maybe, you know. And then you have people who are like, no drug, no. I at least get why the people who go no, I don't necessarily agree with them, but I understand why they're going no.
Yeah.
Even if I think their points are wrong, I get why they're no.
Yeah.
But with I don't get. Oh, because God said that that's an independent life. Really? Because it's inside of me, and if I die, then it will die. And if I continually punch myself in the stomach hard enough for long enough, then it'll probably die. But you think that this is... what is to stop women, potentially, from not having an abortion, but not modifying the lifestyle in a way that best facilitates pregnancy? So would it be illegal for you to just drink vodka every day and smoke?
Well, so this is like kind of partly the contraception argument, right? So contraception fails sometimes.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah.
And it's not just women who are, it's not just people who are sexually active, who are having sex, well, look, who are voluntarily sexually active that are having sex. Like, people can get pregnant from rape. People can get pregnant, like, when their rapist is closely related to them. Like, sure, some people could modify their lifestyle to make their body hostile to becoming pregnant.
Yeah.
But what are the other knock-on effects of drinking a ton of vodka and having and smoking your head off?
Looking cool.
No, well, looking cool, but being probably unemployed.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, okay, so because I don't want a child, I now have to become a chain-smoking alcoholic and give up my career? Like, feels like there should be a better option here.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's not going to protect. It's not going to protect this baby, is it?
No.
Like the way that they think it is. That's.
No.
I'm not saying women should have to do it. I'm just saying that women could do it if they wanted to.
Yeah.
They go, fuck yeah, I'm just going to get rid of this, like, another way. You know? Do you know what?
Yeah,
I used to...
So, one of the issues is then other legislation around it. So, again, it's I haven't read up on this. This is just stuff I remember from the news. There was a case quite recently of a woman in Texas who was charged with manslaughter after having a miscarriage.
Wow.
This is where these kind of laws tend to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Won't be long till they ban all mechanical bulls. That's... Never mind.
What the... How's that connected?
In my head, that's how...
That's what caused a miscarriage in Texas.
Yeah.
Like,
in my head, that's how they do it.
They're clearly at a rodeo.
Yeah. Stick to the line dancing next time.
Yeah.
That is mental, though. That is genuinely fucking mental.
Yeah, and it's frightening. Like, nobody should be forced to carry a pregnancy that they don't want.
Sure.
Because even if, so just morally, they shouldn't. Also, like, carrying a pregnancy to full term is a huge amount of work, like, physically. So I've been...
For those of you that are audio listeners, you just missed me look at the camera and do the little inverted commas and go work when I didn't think Kat was looking, and then she looked at me and she put her finger up at me, and I feel like I'm being told off at school now. It is work.
Rough school.
It is work. It is work.
Like, physiologically, it's a huge burden. So there's a book I'm reading at the moment called The Social Instinct. Yeah, I think it's called The Social Instinct. I'm not sure. It's a very good book. I just can't remember the title. It is excellent. That's really going to bug me. I'm going to have to look it up.
Okay, that's fine. Whilst you're looking it up, I'll tell you that it may not surprise you that I used to have a little bit of stand-up about this.
Okay,
So
about abortion in general.
Yeah, I used to have a bit of stand-up about like how making abortion illegal is the wrong thing to do. And what they should be doing is, and I looked this up, by the way, is a child costs the government £250,000 on average from birth to 18, right? In healthcare, childcare, education, all that shit. What they should do is give us 1% of that, so $2,500 for every year that you don't have a kid. Because if you did that, you know how many unplanned pregnancies there'd be? Fucking zero. Like, I'd never come inside a woman again. I'd be like, I'm not losing my bonus. Do you know? Like, I'm not happy.
Pro boner, pro bonus.
I would pull out and dispose of my semen responsibly.
Okay.
Okay, now you're looking.
I'm gonna put all of that in the back of my head and see what comes out. Like, there's a lot to unpack there, but I don't know if I can be asked. Yeah, it's called The Social Instinct by Nicola Raheny.
Oh, okay.
Rahani. It's very good. It's she's an evolutionary behavioral scientist. So similar area to what I do. Anyway, so it focuses a lot on cooperation and why cooperation evolved and like in lots of different scenarios.
Cooperation as in people cooperating?
Yeah. Or other animals as well.
Oh, right, okay. So it's like you fucking do this and I'll do that, and then together we'll share the spoils.
Yep.
Yeah, my dog cooperates quite a lot with other dogs. I've noticed that when they're hunting squirrels.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right. I feel like they have a little...
They're plotted.
Yeah. I swear I've heard my dog take a Bichon Frise to the side for a conflab. I swear.
Okay.
Like, all right, Val Garland, are you going to chase this squirrel or what?
I was thinking about it as soon as you said conflab.
Yeah.
Anyway, so really good book. There's a section in that about pregnancy. Okay. So one of the almost received wisdoms, the thing that we've all believed for a long time, is that the reason why humans have like really tiny, needy babies.
I think we said penises. Tiny, needy penis.
Needy, yes, but tiny. By animal kingdom terms, I don't think so.
Really?
But anyway.
Have we got one of the bigger dicks to size?
You might be an exception.
Why? Why say it like that?
Because it was there. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry at all.
Apparently fleas have got the biggest dicks to body sizes.
I thought it was barnacles because this came up when...
Oh, it did, didn't it? Yeah, because they got to have long ropey dicks to... Long ropey dick.
To sling it around.
Yeah. It's like the Wild West.
Yeah.
Wrangling cattle.
Right. So, third attempt at telling you this little factette.
Okay.
So for a long time, a lot of people believe that the reason why we have really small, very needy babies is because of space, basically, because of like the size of our hips and like the size of the pelvic opening and the size of a baby, and we've just sort of gone. You're just gonna have to have it really early, like undercooked, because if it stays in there any longer, it's not. It ain't
coming out, and it's just split you in half.
Might not be the reason.
Oh,
because by the time a woman is close to like late stages of gestation, like when you...
I hate that word.
Just really? Fair enough. So towards the very end of pregnancy, the physiological strain of keeping a full fucking baby in your tummy is the same as doing marathons.
Really?
Like this...
It's just you're knackered by this point.
Yeah,
basically.
Well... So...
Too lazy to have it the right time. Unbelievable.
It's just physiologically really, really costly.
Yeah. No, I can imagine.
Yeah, because a fetus leaches everything it needs off the mother.
Nutrients.
It throws... So it's actually the fetus that produces the placenta and umbilical cord. Yeah, they're different things. Yeah, no, what? No, placenta and umbilical cord are the same. What's the splatty bit?
That's the placenta? Yeah, no. Like, look, I'm not
the splatty bit is the placenta.
Yeah, and then the umbilical cord is the long thing that you cut.
Rope. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I have massive brain fart, man.
The only reason that I know that is because Katie Holmes had to eat her placenta.
Had to.
Well, Tom Cruise was pretty insistent. You don't say no to the cruise, do you? If he tells you to eat your placenta, you say, get the oven on.
To be fair, probably didn't eat it. Like, she probably didn't munch on it. Because what you can do is you can get it freeze-dried, smashed, and put into capsule forms.
Right.
I know people who have done that. Because...
Why?
I have no idea, and I decided not to ask. I decided it was none of my business.
So I genuinely thought that they wrapped it up and you took it home like butchers.
Depends how much you like sausages, I guess.
And I thought that it was in a pan, bit of butter, bit of rosemary, and you basted like that. You basted it, minute and a half on either side. Do you want it raw or well done? Like that. That's genuinely what I thought you did. And I thought that was like your meal afterwards.
No, there are less extravagant ways. Although in some ways more extravagant, I suppose, getting it freeze-dried and put it to bed. Anyway, there is more than one way to eat a placenta.
That's the new, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
There's more than one way to eat placenta.
Yeah, so it's the fetus that throws that out.
Right.
And what that means is it's the fetus that decides what it gets through it. So some animals, it's the other way around. So the host, I guess, like the parent, is the one that's is physiologically making the decisions.
Yeah.
Of like what percentage of their blood, what percentage of their nutrition gets diverted to the fetus. Whereas because of the way human fetuses grow, it's the fetus that makes demands and basically hijacks the body.
Yeah.
And like, just pulls nutrition. Like,
do you not think that there's, maybe I'm going off topic a little bit here. Shock.
Oh, how unusual.
Do you not think that we have romanticized pregnancy a little bit more than we should have? So I always see, like, there's pregnancy apps where you put in the date of conception or whatever, and they go, "Oh my God, it's a little raisin at the moment. Hello, little raisin. Hello, baby raisin. It's a cantaloupe now. Oh my God, hello, baby cantaloupe." There's a romantic. It'd be so much different if it went, "Your baby is the size of a small rat." Do you know what I mean? Like, they try and cutesy it up.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Exactly. Like, and I don't think you can overestimate the level of attachment that people feel to even very early pregnancies. Like, because if you very, very much want a child, as soon as that piss stick tells you it's happening, like, it's cool, baby. Yeah. Baby, and you're imagining what that person's going to be like and all that. And like, I don't think there's anything wrong with romanticizing. Like, it's like it's the size of a Kit Kat, or
it's like going on holiday during COVID. You're like, "Oh my God, we've booked it. Oh my God, 3 weeks today." Then even if it gets to the point it's cancelled, it was like, "Oh my God." That metaphor did not work, did it? No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
That was.
It took a turn.
Hella insensitive.
It took a turn. I wasn't expecting. In my head, I formed half a metaphor, and I went, "Well, the first half works. The second half will work." Oh dear God.
Well, I've just said one of the worst things possible, given the topic. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I personally feel like it should be a lot more normal to have very earnest conversations about what a huge decision that is.
Oh,
to have a child. Like, because a lot of the time...
Life-changing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, it might be because I'm outside of the situation, but sometimes I see people or I hear people talk and it's like, you're having a kid because it's just the next thing to do on the life journey.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird. Like, that's intensely weird to me.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. We got a house, we got a car, we got engaged, and then we got a baby.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Life's not a fucking shopping list.
Yeah.
And... It's like
normalize childless couples.
Yeah, or normalize like really chewing it over. Like not the child. Like fucking hell.
Just freeze it, put it in a capsule.
Publicly having those conversations of like, is this a good idea? And not only do I want a child, would a child want me as a parent? Like,
Oh,
'cause
that
it's
is a
not-
question. That's a great question.
Like, that's one of the things that I think about a lot. Like, what? Not just how much would a child affect my life?
Yeah.
Would I be able to offer a child a life worth living? Will there be more happiness than sorrow? And would I be a good parent? Would they want me as a parent?
Wow. That's pretty deep.
Yeah, I think about things sometimes.
Jesus Christ.
I don't even smoke weed, and that's where my brain goes.
This is probably best that you don't.
Yeah,
It's probably best that you don't.
yeah.
Holy shit. When you buy a new car, do you look at it and go, would I be a good driver?
Well, no, because it's not sentient.
Would the car want me? Do you know what? When I gave my last car up, I had a little moment. I had a little moment in the car where I was like,
I'm gonna miss being inside of you.
like, you never let me down. You're a good boy. And then I was like, you know what? Trade it in. Crush it.
Crush it.
Crush it for all I care. Give me my new one. Yeah, something about children.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Whoa.
find it. I find it.
Yeah.
I find it weird myself that like couples who've been together for a long time, like you have the conversation, you know. And this is another bit that I used to do on stage. Is I find it so inappropriate when people go, "So are you guys like trying for a baby?" Do you know what I mean? It's like, think about what that question means.
Yeah.
What it means is, where's your cum going?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's it going and why?
On her face because it makes me happy.
Where do you see your jizz in 5 years' time? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and it's an incredibly insensitive question as well, because you could be asking that to somebody who has been trying really hard to get pregnant, and for whatever reason it's not working.
there's an expectation of procreation.
Yeah.
Like, almost like it's your responsibility. When
Yeah.
in actuality, I'm pretty sure that it's the single worst thing you could do for the environment is have a baby.
Yes and no.
You never
So-
see Extinction Rebellion at the maternity ward, do you?
I'm like, shove it back in.
Little roadblock around the fanny. We're not
They're there
moving.
with their croquet mallets.
Yeah. We're not moving. We're not going anywhere. Stop Oil chaining themselves. She's not coming out. Oh, God.
Anyway,
I feel like this has reached a natural conclusion.
no, it has. So the for our Western drive everywhere, buy new shit every day lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yes, having children is a potentially really bad thing to do
Oh,
for the
I see.
environment. But by simply existing,
Yeah.
that doesn't.
Okay.
So, I had some friends that went to something called Nerd Night, and there was
Nerd night.
yeah. It's basically it's people talking about their area of research and
Oh, I
trying
like
to make
that.
it fun and entertaining if they want to and can. But
Okay.
sometimes it's just like, hey, this is what I do. This is my research kind of thing.
Okay.
And there was somebody there that was talking about the environment and carbon footprints and stuff like that. And somebody in the audience put their hand up and said, right, so we know that too many people is really bad for the planet. So why don't we just go to Africa and stop people from having kids?
Wow. You are not welcome at Nerd Night no more, sir.
Yeah. Like, so that's one issue with the rhetoric of having children is bad for the planet, full stop.
Yeah.
Because you lose all that nuance.
But also as well, imagine living in a head where
Where
you, go,
you think that's an okay
having
thing.
children is really bad for the planet. We can't stop everyone, but let's just not have any more black ones. Because that's literally what you're saying. isn't
Yeah.
it? Wow.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that is probably the most racist thing that guy probably is going to say in his life. And I'm saying it's a guy. I'm saying it's a guy.
Yeah.
It's probably the most racist thing he's going to say in his life. And it comes from a place of total ignorance and stupidity.
Yeah. He has absolutely no idea of all the ways in which that was incredibly fucking offensive.
It's almost, even for me, a man that lives on the line, even I go, Jesus, what, mate? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of an issue of going like, oh, children full stop, or bad for the environment full stop. Everyone, like, we should reduce any level of breeding, because you're losing the nuance that's needed. It's like, actually, it's not necessarily countries where birth rates are high, or areas of the world where birth rates are high that are causing the problems. It's us.
Yeah.
It's us fuckers. Also, birth rate tends to level off generally at a point, but
attitudes as well are different in different countries, because obviously when I went to Asia, they are way less asked about their kids' safety than, and I'll give you an example of what I mean, because I can see you already going. So in Indonesia and Jakarta and shit, it is very common, as in incredibly common, to see a whole family riding a motorcycle, and you are talking mum, dad, 2 kids, and a baby on the fucking handlebars. Like, it's insane.
Is that lack of care, or is that necessity?
So there's one helmet, and it goes on dad's head.
Who's fucking driving?
You are. I bought it. Well, my guide who was there told me that the reason being is because if anything happens to the kids, without being horrible, just get another one. You mourn it, obviously, it's a loss, but then you can have another child. But if anything happens to the dad, then you're all fucked. Because, like, there's no welfare state to speak of, and there's nobody who's going to, like, no Indonesian guy is going to be like, hey, one with 3 children. Yes, please, extra responsibility. It's just not, like, how that culture works. And so, really, the protection goes towards the family kind of earner, as it were, because there's just not, that's how the society's built.
That might be one of the reasons, or like one of the motivations behind reducing access to abortion, is that if women are in charge of their own autonomy, they're less dependent on men.
Oh,
like, potentially that could be because having a child can damage your career, especially if you're the one that's pregnant, because of the time that you need to, one, deal with it before you give birth and then look after it afterwards. One of the best things that you can do to tackle poverty is give women better access to reproductive health care.
Really?
Yeah.
As in, let you choose.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So
it kind of flies in the face of all the received wisdom, this, doesn't it?
Which bit?
Roe versus Wade. Like even on the issue of there's everything that we bring up, kind of, you can link back to it and go, yeah, that's another reason why this is a dreadful idea.
Yeah.
And
it's a terrible. So
who decides if it goes through? Do you know who decides?
The Supreme Court, which is
Gladys Knight.
9
Supremes.
I know. I got it. Gladys Knight wasn't.
No,
the
she
Supreme.
wasn't. She was the Pips.
Pips.
Who was the Supremes? Just the Supremes. Ironically, there's some baby loves.
Oh, Jesus. Diana Ross?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel so much. It's really nice when you remember a thing, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely.
Fuck yeah. Making reproductive health care harder to get hold of increases rates of poverty.
Yeah.
Which then increases loads of costs, because poverty is really bad for your health. You're increasing need for healthcare. High levels of poverty leads to crime. High levels of economic inequality leads to high levels of crime.
Yeah.
It's women or people having control of their own reproduction, like of the timing and with whom they procreate with, is really important for things way beyond just, I don't want to have a kid. Yeah. And that's why everyone should care.
Do you know what it is?
The other thing is, we're sitting here going like, oh, yeah, but that's happening in America.
Yeah.
Jeremy Hunt, while he was health secretary, wanted to push through a law that restricted abortions to before 12 weeks.
Don't a lot of people not even like know before 12? Like 12 weeks is early, isn't it?
12 weeks is pretty early. I think 6 weeks is round about when you're gonna first start getting an inkling that you're pregnant, because you have your period, and then
this is another thing. Sorry to interrupt. This is another thing, right? Abortions don't sound fun. No. Like, it doesn't. At no point does it, like, letting an arm drip out of you in a fucking toilet or whatever. Doesn't it? Doesn't. But I know that's needlessly graphic. But
it's also inaccurate. But
you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Though. None of it sounds like, what a great weekend. Like, what are you up to this weekend, Sharon? Well, on Friday, we are going to have an abortion.
We've been trying to get pregnant for ages.
Yeah,
and now I am, and I can finally have my abortion.
It's going to be great. And then on Saturday morning, we're just going to lie in bed, and just let it all sort of come out. Oh. And then on Saturday, we're meeting some friends for tea. And then on Sunday, we're going for a walk in the Lake District. It doesn't
No.
It's not that.
It's not, no, and it's not, it's not fun. It's not something that people take pleasure in.
I imagine as well, the longer you leave it, the more fucking horrid it's going to be. So this idea that, we're only going to do it for until 12 weeks, it's like, it's putting a rule in place for what seems like no reason.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't have an abortion on a whim.
No.
And I think as well, giving women longer to decide is a smart move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's going to be horrific. Imagine driving to the clinic on your 12-week day and your car breaks down. And then you go back the next day, I'm really sorry, my car broke down. They were like, it's 12 weeks.
Window. So that's another reason why they're referred to as trigger laws in certain states in America.
Right.
Where it, as soon as Roe v. Wade gets repealed, certain states are legal to have an abortion.
Yeah.
Like, I was going to say no warning, and I guess this is the warning. Yeah. But it will mean that the law will change overnight.
I can tell you this, right? 100%. If when a woman was pregnant, a man experienced cramping in his testicles every day, we would not be having this conversation.
No. It's because the majority of the inconvenience falls on women.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's not just women that get pregnant. Not everyone who can get pregnant identifies as a woman. And, I know that sounds... I think it's important not to erase people when you're having these conversations.
Okay. But I mean, if you're gonna talk about abortion, you're gonna use the word woman a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's just because it's a very habit, more than anything else.
But also, as well, it's a very long way to continuously insert that clause in there. I think it's easier just to accept.
Well, pregnant people.
Yeah. I think that it's just easier to accept that. Yes, we know that that's a caveat, but we're going to speak generally because otherwise we're going to spend ages tying ourselves up in linguistic knots and nobody will ever talk about anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's important to throw it in every now and again. Just as I don't have to say it every single time, but just sort of caveat, by the way.
Caveat.
But yeah. So Jeremy Hunt wanted to bring in abortion limits before 12 weeks. And so pregnancy is so your fertility window is relatively small as a woman. So you have your period. About 2 weeks later, ovary releases an egg.
Yep.
And you're briefly at peak fertility.
Yep.
either conception happens or doesn't happen.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, 2 weeks after that, you have another period.
Mm-hmm.
If you do get pregnant, then that period, that's 2 weeks before you miss your period.
Yeah.
And it's not unusual for, like, periods aren't like clockwork.
Yeah.
Like, anything can interrupt them.
I found out recently that some women have period trackers on their phone.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought that was incredible.
Oh, yeah. Well, because everyone's cycle is slightly different. So having a tracker, like, it starts to learn your cycle and it can predict it more accurately.
But are you not worried that, like, they'll give that information to Facebook?
Well, that's one thing.
And then, like, all of a sudden you'll be scrolling through and you'll see more adverts for chocolate and stuff like that. You get what I mean, though?
That's the low-level issue with it. It's something that a lot of people are drawing attention to over in America with the possibility that Roe versus Wade is going to be overturned. Who has access to that data of your period tracker? Because that might be the first indication that you get that you're pregnant. And there are incentives for companies to share that information with the local government. Yeah, basically. And mean that
this is honestly
if you don't then have a child after, well, your period trackers indicated that you're pregnant, where's the baby?
This is honestly like dystopia. This is like a dystopic 1984 model where The Handmaid's Tale, where every woman has to put in their fucking period cycle or whatever, and it gets hooked up to a computer, and then they come round and they go, ooh, you know, you get a knock on the door and that's when you first find out.
Yeah. But, so I've seen quite a few people on Twitter basically saying, if you've got, like, to mostly people in America, it's like, if you've got one of these trackers on your phone, delete your data and get it off your phone now.
Do it the old-fashioned way with an abacus.
Oh, surprise! Like, great. Wore these trousers on the wrong fucking day, didn't I?
Use a little stone and carve it into the wall like cellmates do.
Yeah.
And every 5 gates, you go, oh, it's probably time.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
This is so bleak.
It is incredibly bleak, and yeah,
it's an interesting conversation, though, isn't it? To
and
have.
It is really upsetting. Like the idea that some people will lose access to such a fundamental level of bodily autonomy.
Yeah,
like
I still think myself that people who want to have abortions will have abortions, but it'll just be made way harder, way more inconvenient, and way more unsafe.
Yeah.
And so I do not understand for the life of me why that needs to... when someone's having an abortion, I imagine that they're thinking more than, is this legal? They have other things on their mind.
Yeah, right.
As in, can I do this? Can I have this? Is it going to be healthy? Am I going to be healthy? Etc. etc. But also as well, it brings up, again, trigger warning. It brings up like rape and stuff like that. Like, oh God,
so,
it's horrible.
So there are some states where, as part of trying to make abortion like as unappealing as possible, as if it isn't already an unappealing thing, was some states, before you can have the abortion, you have to have a scan. Like, and I think that's true basically anywhere, because you've got to check that the person's actually pregnant.
Yeah.
So before you do it.
And they make you look at it and they make you go, oh, look, it's got a little hand. It's
so much worse.
It's waving at you. It's just spelt out mum. You know what I mean? Like,
so a over-the-tummy ultrasound is enough to confirm a pregnancy.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a transvaginal ultrasound?
No, but it sounds like the newest Transformer movie. Transvaginal ultrasound, directed by Michael Bay.
Yeah, you probably don't want one.
Really?
You couldn't have one.
I was like, that is it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have one now.
All right, get a fanny.
Done.
So a transvaginal ultrasound is basically a wand that they lube up.
Nice.
And it goes in the vagina.
Sounds sexy.
And then they like move it around.
Yeah.
Like you don't need that level.
Like a dipstick checking for oil.
Kind of, yeah.
Disgusting.
Like I've got to say, I've had 2 transvaginal ultrasounds because I've got polycystic ovaries.
Okay.
And so it was just to have a good look at my ovaries,
and
see
I imagine
what they're up to.
See what they're up to.
See if they're behaving themselves, basically.
One of them started an apprenticeship. Look at that.
Well, one of them actually had like one little like reasonably big cyst, not big enough to need it dealing with.
Yeah.
And then when I got it checked up on a little while later, the cyst had gone, but it's hidden itself behind my uterus.
Very clever.
Like, it's just like...
Oh, you cheeky cyst.
Yeah. Like, not the cyst, the whole ovary. Just
really?
sort of gone, sorry,
sorry, I apologise.
Sorry, I made that massive follicle.
I apologise.
I won't do it again.
It wasn't my fault. It was the other one that told me to. Sorry. Sorry.
So anyway, so I've had 2 transvaginal ultrasounds. I didn't mind them. In fact, I will say...
I thought you were going to say, in fact, I booked it for a 3rd.
I kind of enjoyed it.
Wow.
Like,
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Like, I am relieved that the person doing the ultrasound wasn't a looker.
Really?
Because that could have gotten very, very awkward.
Really?
It was, oh, hello. But that's me personally. One, I'm weird.
Yeah.
2, it was just a general checkup.
Yeah.
If you are trying to get an abortion because you've been raped,
it's
like, okay, cool. Now we're going to take all element of control off you while I shove this thing inside you.
Gosh,
like,
so
great.
How was it you were conceived? Gosh, must have been pretty traumatic. Anyway, get them down.
Yeah.
Let me lube up the wand.
Yeah.
You're a fan of Harry Potter, are you? There's no nice way of doing it.
No. Yeah.
So they make you stick that up there, and then I imagine they make you watch like an
an
hour-long film of like babies.
Yeah,
one born every minute.
Yeah, some places will like really hammer home, sort of like, this is what you're giving up.
So cunty.
It's just a like physical and psychological torture before you can have your abortion, which will also be psychologically and physically uncomfortable at least.
Imagine watching like going to like a restaurant, ordering a steak, and having to watch a 20-minute video of like baby cows just frolicking in a field. Just like having fun. Do you know what I mean?
Again, not a great analogy.
No, I know, but you get what I mean. You'd be like, for fuck's sake. Like, I still want it, but gee, I fucking have to sit through this shit. Do you know what I mean? Even if it was the best steak in the world, you'd be like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was just thinking, like, because if it is the best steak in the world, it's probably Wagyu steak. So actually, you'd be watching a video of a cow getting a massage. And thinking, do you know what? You've had an all right life. I have absolutely no problem taking a big bite out your arse.
I have absolutely no problem taking a big bite out of your arse. That's Cat Ford as a child speaking there.
Yeah, I mean, I still kind of feel that way.
Right. We're gonna call it.
Okay.
You got anything you want to plug?
Do you know what? Instead of plugging my own stuff, I would really recommend if you go onto Spotify and put in Roe versus Wade. There's some really interesting podcasts out there that'll get you a lot more up to date on what's going on.
If you were interested, I wanted to listen to experts talk about
basically.
it. Yeah.
Basically, if you enjoyed this and want more of it with better information and fewer segues, then do a Google.
You're a fool. You're a fool to yourself.
Science Versus does a really good one where it just like talks a lot about the facts. And there's You're Wrong About, which tells you the history of Roe versus Wade.
I've recently
There's
started
a few
listening
others.
to You're Wrong About.
It's a good one, isn't it?
They're good.
Yeah, I've listened to bits and bobs, but I'd recommend it.
They're good. I'm really enjoying it. At the moment, I'm listening to one about medieval torture devices.
Ooh,
Yeah, and it's
that
like
does sound good.
they're all bollocks. Pretty much,
Fair enough.
basically.
Yeah.
You know that Iron Maiden thing? You know, like it's like a coffin that you stick in spikes and shit.
Oh, okay.
Total bollocks. It was made up by Victorians to be like, we're not like these bloody savages, are we? Look what they used to do.
Victorians were a bit weird.
Yeah.
Right.
You become a patron because you get more stuff, and it's only £4 a month, £1 a week, which is next to nothing. You get loads of extra content and early access and stuff like that. Thank you ever so much for listening. We will see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast has been sponsored by Outlier Distillery. They are the makers of the fantastic Hooley Manx White Rum, which is available right now on the Outlier Distillery website for just £34. And there's an extra discount code for everyone that listens to this podcast. Just enter Pigoted at checkout and you get yourself 20% off. Now, this was a company that was actually started in lockdown, and they make some fantastic drinks. I am a huge fan of this Hooley Manx White Rum. As you can see, I've drunk nearly most of it already. It's a really strong flavour, and it goes great in cocktails and daiquiris and rum and cokes. So if you are a big drinker, if you're a fan of alcohol and you like white rum, then get yourself down to Outlier Distillery's website and get your code 20% off by entering Pigoted at checkout. This episode of Pigoted Podcast was sponsored by Taylor's Toys. Now, for OG listeners of the show, you'll know Taylor's Toys. They've been sponsoring us since the beginning. They are a sex toy company that specialise in making high quality produce, like you grow it. You know, they make good products that don't fall apart after a couple of uses, but they're at decent, reasonable prices as well. You can head over to taylorstoys.co.uk right now, check out the amazing range that they've got on offer, and if you enter the discount code PIGOTED at checkout, you get 20% off and you get free delivery on orders over £25. It is a fantastic thing to do, especially with Valentine's Day just round the corner. Head yourself over to taylorstoys.co.uk and spice some things up in the bedroom.